do it right. And then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya. Since Prince was on Apollonia.
All right, we got a new women's basketball coach. There were rumblings that it was getting close, and it's officially here now. Joni Taylor has been named the new head coach. She was previously at the University of Georgia, started there back in 2015, and she's led them to 4 trips to the NCAA tournament. In her press release, she went on to say how much respect she has for Gary Blair. And I guess she played against him when he was at Arkansas as a player, and obviously has coached against him for a long time. In the quote, she says in the press release, she is quoted as saying, "I'm excited to have the opportunity to be around him, learn from him, and for him to show me the way." I love that. I love coming in with that kind of attitude. It's going to be great. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And before this NIT tournament, I appreciated the tournament for what it was. Stepping stone for maybe what could be, another season, but still angry that the Ags were not in the NCAA tournament, as most of us were. But while many schools in the SEC and Big 12 and all around are home, many of our rivals down the road, and there's schools out there who probably got the spot that A&M deserved are all out. A&M is still playing basketball and playing at home tonight. And it feels good to still be playing for something, right? This is... Not only is this game against Wake Forest a big deal, but what it could represent moving forward. They have a very difficult matchup there against Steve Forbes and his team out there, but it is watching postseason basketball and watching this team grow in real time has been a real delight for a lot of us. And with that, I say, like I said the day after the NCAA tournament, or even that evening when the Selection Sunday was announced, let's go win the darn thing. And we'll begin with Olin Buchanan here on the Go Hour. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. They're definitely making chicken salad out of chicken feathers.
Yeah, they are.
Or some other part of chicken.
Right.
So when you do get snubbed unfairly, you can whine and complain about it and just want to quit. And A&M complained, rightly so, for a while, but they didn't quit. Since then, they've went out and looked like they've been trying to prove a point, and I think they're proving it. So if they can win tonight, advance to New York for the Final Four of the NIT, I think that's great. And this team is so much fun to watch now.
Yeah,
you see so much confidence, and they're starting to, the different style of play and all. It's fun to watch. So every game you get to see these guys play is a bonus.
I'm not ready for it to end. I think that's the thing. We finally got to know this team, right? Because there was a period where they were all so new that we're all still learning some of the players, their tendencies. Then they were trying to figure out how to be a team. They figured all that out now. They have beaten top 5 teams. They've beaten all kinds of teams. They've come back. They've played poorly against teams that are mediocre and found a way to win. They've grinded out. They've dominated. They've done everything here over the last 3 weeks to make it say, you know what, let's just keep it going.
Yeah, it's hard to get to know players anymore. Just the way, and I'm not ripping on coaches, but just the way coaches are now, they're more controlling than they used to be and things like that. Everything in their program, they decide who's going to show up. It used to be, you request the guys, you might sit down with them for a long time. And that's just not the way it is anymore. So it takes a long run like this, I think, to get to know some guys. I think we've gotten to know Boots Radford better than we might have, and Quentin Jackson better than we might have. And I think from the very beginning, we could see, hey, Henry Coleman seems like a really nice, good guy, and there's a story behind him and things like that. But you don't really get to tell those stories the way you used to. But the longer they play and the more you're around them, the better you get a feel for them. And it really is a close-knit team, a team of really good guys, and that, have just, it took a while, but they're just found a way to mesh and just playing at a high level together.
We've seen storylines develop, right? So I'm going to use Hayden Hefner as an example. comes in early on. I'm like, this guy isn't doing anything. Then he does some things. Then he has the brain fart in the SEC tournament where he got the foul on the 3-point shot. Okay. Then he has the next game where he goes off. Like, we've seen growth, we've seen roles defined, and I keep using the term real time. We've watched it happen, right? It's not like this is how it's always been. We've seen it from its inception grow into where we are right now. Yeah,
Hassan Diarra became that sixth man that was coming in and playing really well for you. Manny Obaseki, Buzz will tell you over and over that a huge part of this resurgence is because of Obaseki, even when he wasn't scoring, just the energy and all the other things that don't show up in the score sheet, that box score that he does. So I think you just saw a team come of age.
Yeah.
And they needed to make changes. They made changes. They needed to adapt to the changes that were made, get used to. They did quickly. And, they're just, I think Buzz is just getting every bit of talent, potential, all those things out of these guys. He is wringing everything out of them.
Yep. And we're going to continue talking about the men's team, but we have to give some time here to the women's basketball team. Gary Blair retires a couple weeks back, and it's going to be hard to follow what he did here at A&M. Now, I have to tell you, I don't know much about Joni Taylor other than what I could find on Wikipedia and knowing Georgia's reputation in the NCAA tournament and obviously the A&M press release. But from a quick scan this morning, I got a heads up that this news was coming. I started doing my research. Looks like they got themselves a really good coach.
Well, I would think, I would expect that.
Yeah.
I know Georgia is not known for basketball. And I know that they have or if they still have it, they have a horrific place to play. You're not going to win over anybody with their facilities.
Right.
If they're still what they were when I went there. And I think they are. That said, she still had, pretty good success. I think they were like 21-9 or 21-10 this year. So you wonder, hey, what can this woman do with a program that has a history of being successful, with better facilities and more emphasis behind it? Now, I'm not saying that Georgia's never had emphasis. They had Andy Landers as the coach there, and he was really successful for a long time. But since then, she's done some good things. So it might not be that hire that everybody would know the.
No, everybody was concentrating on the man down the road in Austin,
right,
which wasn't going to happen.
So you do wonder about. I wonder what if I was talking to someone who's really nationally plugged into women's basketball, like I used to be back in the day, what their thoughts would be. But I believe Ross Bjork puts in a lot of effort, and he's probably talked to dozens of people to come to this to this decision to hire her.
Well, how about this? I know a guy who researches women's basketball. Okay, like he knows who and he had a top 3 list. And apparently Joni Taylor was number 1 on that list. Let's go to our magical phone line and talk to behind the glass director Dalton Hughes, who was bragging that he really wanted Joni Taylor.
I mean, I wouldn't say bragging. There was a couple of names when you found out that Blair was leaving. Obviously, the first name wasn't going to happen. We've talked about that. This was the next name that I came to, and it stems back to I've done a lot of interviews with Blair, with both you, David, and Gabe. And I remember if I was good at my job, I would have gone and found this. But Blair gushed over Joni Taylor as a head coach, what she was doing at Georgia. And then I've watched her play. I've watched her coach against A&M. It's clear that she can recruit really well. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think she's going to do a great job here.
Well, that's
she is the one that replaced Landers, and that's
correct.
A hard thing to do.
Yeah.
She's also replacing 2 best friends now in her 2 past
and
jobs.
They haven't had the same success. But, again, that's hard to do at Georgia, but she has been successful.
Yeah.
It's like saying Andy Landers is the most successful coach, women's coach ever at Georgia, right? As far as I know, he may have been the only one, but I don't. But it's like is the next, and I don't want to go to is the next coach at Baylor can be successful, but are they going to be as successful
As Kim?
As Kim?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if she'll be as successful as Gary, but this is a woman. She might be even more successful. This is a woman that has had to follow the best ever, and without great facilities and all those things, and has had success. Now, I did not know that Dalton was an expert on women's basketball.
I didn't either until he
But
chatted
if he
me.
says that she's
it
the
comes
one,
with sitting in this chair. Ronnie covered women's basketball. He was here. The first beat that I covered when I was at TexAgs was women's basketball. So, kind of got into it and stuck. We got to have someone that at least pays attention to it. But yeah, I didn't call my shot. I didn't say this was going to be it. But
that's who you wanted.
If I said people that, hey, I would call, she was the first name I said.
If Dalton is good with it, then that's all I need to know.
Well,
if Dalton's
I'm glad
good with
Olin's
it,
got my back.
I'm going to be very honest with you. It makes me kind of wonder what Ross is thinking now. And now that I know that Dalton's on the same page. Just kidding. Dalton, good work as always. Let's go to the News and Social Center. Anna Rosa Peterson, good morning to you.
Good morning. I am certainly excited about this new era of women's basketball. But on the topic of basketball, I'm also excited that I am first place, tied, of course, with other people. I got to give them credit. Dalton, Lucci, and Olin in our TexAgs bracket. Who would have guessed?
Anna Rosa bragging about something. Who would have thought?
This is just like the flex center, not the social center.
Let's flex. I don't think I made the cut.
That's cap.
That's cap.
Oh, good stuff right there.
I don't even know if I said it
I
right,
didn't
but
take many risks in my bracket, though, so...
Yeah, Nuño, you were the only one that I sent the invite to that didn't join, I don't think.
It's too cool for it.
I'm trying to remember. No, there was a reason for it. I believe
Not a good one, but
I mean, I believe you sent it on the day that I went and I had a bunch of doctor's appointments. I believe you sent it like the day before it started. Does that sound correct?
I think I'd sent it Wednesday morning. That sounds
Yep,
right.
and I had 2 appointments on Wednesday in Houston. By the way, I'm all good.
You know when Logan did his?
Right before the first game?
10:58 on Thursday morning.
Oh, my gosh.
Because he texted me and said, I forgot to look at a bracket. I just did it, though.
Oh.
Well, I may be tied with Anna Rosa, but I'm not staying there.
I was going to say, I ain't got much runway
I had
left
Tennessee
either.
beating Kentucky in the final.
Same.
By the way, if you want to call the show, you can call us up on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the AMB text line, 979-693-1150. AMB, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank, Good Texas Banking. The website is anb.com. What do you think about the hiring of Joni Taylor? Love to get your thoughts on that. And call your shot. What's going to happen tonight against Wake Forest? We're looking forward to that game. We'll return to the News and Social Center. What news do you have for us?
So in softball, after a stellar performance in the circle against number 5 Florida on Saturday, softball's Mackenzie Herzog has been tabbed the Southeastern Conference Pitcher of the Week. This was announced on Tuesday. And then softball's game against, which is Wednesday night at 4 p.m., has been adjusted against Houston Baptist, so it is now at 4 p.m. today. And then in men's swimming and diving, they will travel to Atlanta this week for the NCAA championships. The meet will be held on Georgia Tech's campus and is set to begin today, March 23rd, and run through Saturday, March 26th. 14 members of the men's team will make the trip, and with 6 individual swimmers and 4 divers qualified to compete. And so Wednesday through Saturday, each of these days, the meets will commence at 5 p.m. every single day if you're following. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you very much. I will also add that the Aggies baseball team, they won yesterday against Rice 15-8. A little bit of the top performers there. Jack Moss had a homer, 5 RBIs, including a grand slam. Way to go, still in base as well. Logan Britt hit 2 home runs. Dylan Rock continues his tear. He was great, 3 of 5, a double, 2 RBIs in that one. Taylor Smith, 2 for 3, 4 runs, 2 base on balls, a double, and an RBI, and a stolen base. So big one for them. Rice got on the board early, and after that, it was just 1-0 in the first inning. After that, it was all Aggies as they win 15-8. All right, when we come back, we got to do the word of the day, and we're going to get into a little more of this big old game tonight, the NIT. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, many of you are going to be out there and supporting your Aggies, supporting Quentin Jackson in his last home game ever at Reed Arena as a member of the A&M men's basketball team. Right now, I want to talk about the Association of Former Students. They've been doing it for a long, long time, 140 years. But that means you've been doing it for a long time, too, because many of you are members of the Association of Former Students. Maybe many of you are Century Club members. For 140 years, your financial gifts have allowed them to be here, there, and everywhere. And they've done it for so many different types of groups: traveling Aggies, tailgates, scholarships, Aggie bands, silver taps, class reunions. So the list goes on, which is what they do. And they've been doing it because they love to do it. But the question many of you may be asking is why? Why do you do it, and why are they helping so many people? And the reason is you. You're the answer right there. So go to IamTheWhy.com so you can see a lot of these stories that tell Aggie stories, right? Stories of people just like you, the ways that the Association of Former Students have impacted their lives. There's so many different types of stories there on IamTheWhy.com. I really encourage you to check it out. How about the gathering where incoming freshmen talk about their experience at their first Yale practice, remembering that first time you went and how important it was to you and what that means to many generations to come, or Giselle, who talks about how support helped her focus on school while caring for her family of 5. Story after story there on IamTheWhy.com. It's the Association of Former Students, IamTheWhy.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Fist Collaborative presents Fellowship with the Fellas. Boys ages 11 to 18 are invited to the event this Saturday from 10 to 3 at Sam Rayburn Intermediate. Food, games, and fellowship. Unbound BCS is hosting its annual Night of Hope banquet on Thursday, March 31st at the Weinberg. Topics will cover the anti-human trafficking work of Unbound BCS and the 24/7 advocacy services for survivors of human trafficking. For tickets, go online to unboundbcs.org. Friends of Chamber Music and Concerts on Carter Creek presents stellar Paris-based Arid String Quartet on Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church in Bryan. The concert is free and open to the public. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hippity hop to the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 9th for the annual Easter celebration. The event will begin at 9:30 a.m. and include an Easter egg hunt, egg roll, egg toss, carnival games, face painting, kite flying, door prizes, balloon animals, complimentary refreshments, and photos with the Easter Bunny. The free event will be available for children age 7 and under. For more information, visit bush41.org.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on 1150 a.m. and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Or check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor. Here on The Zone.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Everybody, and I mean everyone, whether you're not currently playing or your bracket is busted, everybody's invited to play our Second Chance Brackets, a part of Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green. Go now, make your picks at zone1150.com. Pick the entire field, starting with the Sweet 16. Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green, is also brought to you in part by Wings and More, Dixie Tire, Gold Star Barber Studio, Baker Fried, and Superior Auto Service. Play now, zone1150.com.
My Maria, don't you know I've come a long, long way?
Well, you're getting such a large number of guys, a volume of guys, and you're getting guys that are high enough picks and getting the kind of guys you want. That they're very important guys, and guys are going to go early in the draft. We think a lot of guys, and so the depth of it makes it very good, and that's what you want your program to be, and that's one of the calling cards. I mean, coming here, not only getting a degree here, getting the Aggie ring, all that, but being able to get developed to play in the league, that's one of their biggest dreams, and they've had it since they were that high in the backyard, playing for whatever pro team or college team they were in the backyard. So it's fun.
Jimbo Fisher there yesterday talking about all 32 NFL teams they represented. I believe Edmonton Eskimos, is that right? They were there as well, and it just kind of shows you where this program is going. I know that, OB, in your column you mentioned Lovie Smith was there with the Texans GM Nick Caserio, and there was others. I believe Miami Dolphins represented as well with their GM. So just Titans, yeah. So a lot of big names here for what the Aggies are doing. So we'll get into Pro Day here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Want to get OB's thoughts on all the things that happened out there. But before we do that, let's go to the News and Social Center and get an FCC violation with Anna Rosa Peterson.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, after spending the last week in Disney World, this term, which is a real term, by the way, has been at the forefront of my mind. It's called Disney Adult. Have you heard of it?
I have not heard a Disney adult, but I can try to do the math and figure it out. Like a Olin-looking human that takes Disney as serious as I take Batman.
That's honestly a really good way to define it. It's pretty self-explanatory. A Disney adult is someone who is over the top, obsessed with Disney. But let me go into some depth for you. So Disney adults may devote an unreasonably large portion of time or resources towards expressing their love for Disney. This can include buying merchandise, memorabilia, collectibles, novelty items, having bumper stickers with Mickey on the back of their car, getting Mickey tattoos or other characters, whatever, or subscriptions to streaming services, visiting and spending money at the parks on a regular basis, and playing a very active role in Disney fandoms, or generally supporting Disney financially to an excessive degree. So, like I said, pretty self-explanatory. And they kind of have a bad rap. I'm not going to lie. My mom may or may not fall into the category of being a Disney adult, not to knock on her, but they're not always bad, like all stereotypes. She's a great lady, but they kind of fall into the same category in my mind of like a cat lady. Someone just kind of weirdly, it makes you uncomfortable how obsessed they are with this fandom. There's a wide range of Disney adults, of course, or what I like to call DAs. They kind of can be referred to as terrifyingly intense people you'll ever encounter. That's what I found as a definition for them. Disclaimer, the vast majority of adults who are obsessed with Disney are Disney adults, but not all of them. So, yeah, David, you're not a Disney adult, but you may be a Marvel adult.
Yeah, there's definitely some superhero, and it was at this moment in my life where I realized what a loser I've become. That's all right.
Now, see, you wear a band with Batman on it, but you don't dress up like Batman.
No, that's only in the evening.
Oh,
when I'm patrolling the neighborhood for speeders, I jump out.
Does the missus ever dress up as Catwoman?
No. I've been working on that one for a while.
No, but it just isn't happening. Okay,
no,
I'm sorry.
I did buy her some Batman underwear once. I'm just gonna say, but never mind. Go ahead.
Or Robin even. First of all, I want to disagree with her and say that they are not getting a bad rap. Anybody that is ragging on the Disney adults or Harry Potter adults or what's that thing? Pokemon adults,
right?
Deserve the ridicule. They deserve it. I went to Disney and I saw grown people dressed as Star Wars characters, and they weren't employees. They were just walking around there dressed like that. I went to Universal Studios and there were. Look, I get it when the girls are wearing dresses like princesses and the little boys are dressed up and they got, Star Wars on, or at Universal, they were dressed as Harry Potter. I get it. But when you're 40 years old and you're dressed like Harry Potter or then you're a DA, but I don't mean Disney adult. I'm thinking dumb whatever.
Well,
I remember one time Quinn was like 5 years old up in Tennessee, and he was playing Pokemon, or was it Pokemon? Yeah, they had Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out you can play tournaments with this, which I had no idea, and he was actually good at it. And we took him in Hendersonville, Tennessee, And they were grown men.
Yes.
That were dressed up like characters playing this. I remember thinking to Irma, I said, who do you think is going to have relations first?
Oh, my.
5-year-old Quinn or these guys playing this game? And you know what? I put my money on Quinn.
Well, let me go ahead and clarify. I have never been to Comic-Con, okay, which is where like people go in, and I will never go dressed as it's just not my thing. I would feel like I would just feel weird. So I appreciate the movies and the storylines. Like we appreciate wearing an Earl Campbell jersey if you're an Oilers fan, or wearing maybe use an Aggie, Quentin Coriat jersey, okay? Like I like that's the level of how far I could go. Like my kids, my boys wear Ronaldo and Sergio Ramos jerseys. I get it. If you want to wear a Johnny Manziel jersey, even if you're at what point can you not wear a Johnny Manziel jersey?
Oh, I think
we can wear it now, right?
Yeah, right. On game day,
just don't go dressed like him to the club.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah.
Let's get back on track.
Okay.
How about this? When we come back, we want to talk Pro Day. You were there for all of it, and I made you run over there after the go hour yesterday. Get your thoughts. There's some good, some not so good, and some, let's see how things play out when it comes to Aggie Pro Day and what it means for a lot of those guys' journey to the NFL. Right now, let's talk Aggie Loan expert Christine Engler. Big friend of the show, big friend of Aggie Land, and she is an Aggie, so of course she is, right? Like that's class of 97. She loves everything that A&M's about, and she wants to make sure that you get the best possible mortgage rate or refi rate out there, because that's what she does. She has brought her business here to Aggie Land, and the website's very easy to remember, AggieLoanExpert.com. AggieLoanExpert.com. She's going to take care of you, especially with this real estate market still booming out there. People are seeing record gains in the equity in their homes, so if you're considering home renovations, debt consolidation, whatever it may be, and you need money now, Christine's probably got the best answer for you with a very nice solution. Rates are still near all-time lows. There's never really been a better time for a cash out right now. So jump on it. You can lower your monthly payment and get the funds you need. All you have to do is apply online at AggieLoanExpert.com. Again, that is AggieLoanExpert.com. Terms and conditions do apply. Christine Engler, the Aggie Loan Expert. NMLS number 1309378, company NMLS number 1324641, equal housing opportunity.
Well, here we are, face to face. A couple of silver spoons. Damn, you guys are good. Nuño and OB on the Go Hour. During TexAgs Radio, mornings at 8 on the Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
If you have considered replacing the windows in your brick veneer home, you may have been told that it would be necessary to either remove the brick or tear up the inside of your window box. You need to know that Intercon replaces windows and brick every day, and we don't tear up anything except the window which is being removed. By installing windows every day, Intercon personnel have worked out methods which result in the replacement windows being at least as neat and effectively installed as your windows were when they were new. This means that Intercon can furnish and install replacement windows which exceed today's tighter standards for efficiency. They look and perform just as well as the best windows in brand new homes. Call Intercon or visit our showroom and we will furnish you customer references for homes you can look at and homeowners you probably know who can tell you that Intercon can solve your window problems without wrecking your home or your budget, just as we did theirs. Intercon will furnish a free quote and we won't pressure you to buy.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Since 1957, Slovačić Sausage in Snook has been making the best-tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovačić is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovačić. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovačić Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
Hi, it's Jenny from your local Big Deal store. If you've never visited our website, you're missing out because we've partnered with some of the best local businesses in town. Dozens of gift certificates, all discounted, ready for you to buy today. Here are just a few of the businesses you'll find.
Carter's Burger, B&B Automotive, and El Mundo Taco. Shop and save now at AggieLandBigDeals.com.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kinder Music, Happy Camper School, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Would it be in Baker's best interest to go somewhere else in which he really has no say in where he can go, Key? Or do you want to say, you know what? I know this relationship isn't repairable. Let me do what I need to do just this 1 year and then say, you know what? Deuces, I'm out. But at least my resume has changed because I have a year of balling out.
Key, J, and Max. Listen in to Key, J, Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
But it shows we're building it up. We're getting it there. We're getting the depth. We're getting the number of guys. And, you know, these guys are working their tails off. And they're realizing they can come here to A&M and get those dreams come true.
Dreams do become a reality when you come to Texas A&M, because I think a national championship is in the future, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to be over-optimistic guy because I think we're all headed in that direction, and Pro Day is a reflection of some of the talent that Jimbo has been putting together and what could look like in the future with even more talent there. But hopefully we get 6-7 guys drafted when it comes to NFL Draft Day. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So our buddy Mike Lucas was listening to the show. I don't know if you guys heard, Mike Lucas is moving to Cleveland, so we'll hopefully still get him on the show.
Doesn't he like to dress up as Ant-Man?
Well, here's Mike Lucas. I like that. Here's Mike Lucas. Just heard Olin's story. When I was in 6th grade, won a regional dual masters tournament, kind of like Pokemon cards, and qualified for the national championship in L.A. They flew me and my dad out there, got us a hotel, whole 9 yards, true story. Got disqualified for cheating 45 seconds into my match. Got to spend 3 full days in L.A. on the tournament's dime. Best random vacay of my life.
Wait, he was cheating?
Yeah, I got to know more about that. I got to know more about the cheating.
And how old was he? Like 10?
9, yeah.
9 and
yeah.
cheating?
Yeah. Well, what does Jim Rome say? If you're not cheating, you're not trying?
Not trying, yeah. I'm actually kind of impressed.
Hey, we want to talk Pro Day, but we got a lot of text messages to get into. Saw some really good ones out here. Let's go to Anna Rosa Peterson at the News and Social Center.
Yes, Dale in Tabor says, not long ago we were debating how many wins the Ags needed just to reach the NIT. Now they're in the quarterfinals. Game 1 was the biggest hurdle. They had to overcome disappointment and another team. Tonight they are rested and hungry. Aggies win by 10. And then Chase and Houston
let me comment on that real quick, because I think what he says is exactly true, OB. There was a point where we're like, we're not even sure this team's going to get in the NIT.
Yeah.
They may win the darn thing.
I even asked Ross if they would consider the CBI, and thankfully he said no.
Yeah. Yeah. It just shows. And again, and I don't know if I said it to you. I said it to somebody yesterday. This is now a big portion of the season. What we've seen over these last 3 weeks is a third of the season, what they've been able to do, winning 9 of 10 games.
Well, you're right. And it's really, there was just one poor stretch in the season. And unfortunately, the NCAA tournament committee didn't look at the entire season. They just looked at, one stretch.
Yep. All right, Anna Rosa, let's go back to the A and B text line.
All right, and to our previous conversation, Chase in Houston says, I know way too many Disney adults. People that go there without children scare me. And
hey, you know what? I worked for Disney, and one of the perks of working for Disney is you accumulate Disney passes. I think it makes for a great vacation, especially when you have kids. But if you don't have kids, you can go to Disney for like 40% off. It's not a bad idea to do it.
I like Disney.
Olin's looking at me like that.
You know what? I took Quinn when he was 5, and we had a nice family time, and I will not go back until I have grandkids.
Yep. But let me tell you, when you can get in for free, and it's, $170 a day or something like that?
Yeah, it's expensive.
All right, Trey and Shiner's got one for us.
Yes, he said, as an aside, I think, never mind. Sorry. He says, I am a Disney adult when it comes to my Ags. However, I don't think our guys helped themselves yesterday, especially Wydermeyer, who Zerline had dropping to free agent. I hope it was just a bad day.
Yeah, Lance Zerline, who I have a lot of respect for, worked with him for many years, and he is when it comes to the NFL draft, he is one of the best insiders out there, works for the NFL Network, does great work. He did tweet yesterday something along those lines that he doesn't think that Wydermeyer is going to even get drafted, which is amazing to me because it's one of those and he mentioned the film as well. I think if you watch his impact in games, he's obviously going to get drafted. But I guess some of the intangibles that there weren't there yesterday, and obviously the combine as well.
The combine and the pro day is important, but I still believe that that watching a guy play is what's the most important thing. And I'll say this: I will be livid as a Dallas Cowboys fan if Jalen Wydermeyer wasn't there if he was there in the 6th, 7th round and you didn't draft him because you thought that maybe he had maybe a bad day on pro day, and you put more stock into that than what you saw over 3 years of him actually playing football.
But look at what you just said there. If he goes in the 6th or 7th round,
this
is
a guy because your guy's saying that he's not going to get drafted at all.
But this just says the conversations 5 months ago, a year ago, 2nd round, 1st round talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now there are some who believe he could drop significant. And I'm shocked by it because my perception of Jalen Wydermeyer before I got here, watching him, was that this guy's an NFL player, like a for sure NFL player, top 3-round NFL player. And unfortunately, some of his numbers aren't correlating that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what did he run, a 5 40 or something like that?
Yeah,
and that's not good enough. But I wonder if there's anything else involved in there because I've seen Jalen Wydermeyer catch the ball and run away from SEC DBs.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're running 5 flat. So the guy I've seen play football is a 1st-round talent. Now, if his numbers don't match up, he's going to drop. But I would be upset if my team put more emphasis on what someone did at their pro day than what someone did over 3 years of actually playing football.
Yeah. I'm surprised by it all. I do want to not give ourselves credit, but on this show, both of us, Billy included, have talked about once NFL scouts put their eyes on Michael Clemons, this talk about a 5th or 6th round pick is going to change. He's going to be talked about as a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And I think you're starting to hear his name mentioned in those first couple of days of the draft a lot more because when you see the man and then you see some of the output and then you watch the film when he was healthy, because I think health has been a big part of his issues early on. But you see everything he has put together. He is an NFL body for sure, and he might have worked his way up into day 2.
I think he's one of those guys that you just have to see him. I'm not talking about seeing play. I'm just talking about seeing.
Stand right next to him.
And immediately your opinion starts to change, or at least you get curious. Say, well, okay, what? And then you think, well, when he was healthy, what was he?
Yeah.
Well, 2 years ago, he was leading the Aggies in sacks, and then he got hurt, and he missed the second half of the year. He had 4 sacks in 5 games. And then last year, look what he did in that LSU game. And you say, man, this guy can play some football.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to be worried about his injury history, and that's going to bump him down some. But, man, you look at a guy and you think, is this guy worth taking a flyer on? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I'm a good example to use here because I remember watching Michael Clemons on TV before I moved here to College Station. Like, man, he's a nice player. That first day I went to fall camp, and I saw him working on the side. He was working with one of the assistants, and he was just, I think it was even before practice had officially started. He was just getting some work in. And I turned to you, I think I turned to Bill, like, that guy is like a Greek god. He's like ridiculous. And then you watch him on game day, and you see, yeah, this guy makes play after play.
Yeah, again, I think he's one of those rare guys that could have a better pro career than he did college career if he stays healthy.
Yep.
But health is such a big part of him.
By the way, just got news. It looks like there's going to be an introductory press conference for Joni Taylor here soon, so we will make sure we're there tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Also, I believe I'll have her on the show on Friday. So we expect there to be a press conference here in the next 48 hours, I guess it would be my assumption. But regardless, we're working on getting her on the show on Friday.
Well,
by the way, every time I say Joni Taylor, I want to say Joni Mitchell. In my head, that's what the default.
Well, Pave Over Paradise.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you know Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Well, I mean, I thought she's not a rapper. So
no, but they did a Joni Mitchell and Q-Tip song went out in the 90s, and I'm a big Tribe Called Quest fan, so I know that.
A big what fan?
Q-Tip.
Like the things you put in your ears?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
Oh, I thought you were... I thought maybe you were telling me she did a commercial for Q-Tips or something.
No. Q-Tip is a rapper who used some Joni Mitchell in his music, so yeah, big fan.
Rappers are always ripping off other people's stuff.
Yeah, that's what they do. They some would say they make it better. Some would say they definitely make it worse.
Interesting.
Or they just bring it to a new generation. Relive good old Joni.
Okay.
She's still with us?
To my knowledge, she hasn't left us.
Okay. Well, maybe she did the song live with him. I don't know. Joni Mitchell still alive, according to.
Oh yeah, she's all upset. I think. I'll leave it. I'm not supposed to talk politics.
She's 78 years old.
Okay.
All right. And from Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, I knew she was Canadian.
Yeah. All right, where were we? Let's get back on point. We were talking Michael Clemons. Beyond that, Aaron Hansford, another guy who I think has made up some ground as well.
Aaron Hansford looked like he spent a whole lot of time training and in the weight room, man. He's always looked like a good athlete, but man, he looked different yesterday. Yeah. And he runs well. I found out his mother was a sprint champion in Louisiana and held the state record, like 400. I can't remember if it was 400 or if she was part of a 400 medley relay.
Wow.
That stood for like 30 years. And his dad was a college sprinter. So, of course, he was born to be fast.
They got some speedsters in that family.
Born to run.
Yeah, he's moved up quite a bit. Isaiah Spiller ran about what I think we expected him to run.
Yeah. Isaiah Spiller with a 4.6, fine, plenty fast enough. Again, they don't really look for speed burners at running back in the NFL. If you have it, that's fine. But you got to be able to do all the other things that they do look for.
Block, cut, hit the hole.
Run with power.
Yep.
Run with power, hit the hole. Like you said, block, catch the ball.
Which he improved his ability to catch.
All you have to do is watch the last drive of Colorado. Yep. That's all. And people forget that he had a huge catch to start the maybe not the first play, but early in the game-winning drive against Alabama.
Yeah,
on the sideline.
Yeah, and he's one of those we expect to see very early as well. Leon O'Neal, he was not happy. He tweeted himself, I believe, that he tweeted, or he has some comments afterwards about not being happy with what he ran. Another one of those guys, though, if you watch the film, you know what kind of player you're getting, plus the leadership qualities that we talked about yesterday.
He needs to be able to prove that he can run faster than 4.7. The 4.7 is going to be, at the position he plays, is going to be alarming. But it's funny because if he ran a 4.6, they said, "Oh, okay." It's 1/100th of a second can really change the way you're viewed. And Leon was thinking, he felt like that he runs a lot faster than that, and that he just he said mechanically or technique wise he did some things he shouldn't have done. So
I guess I buried my lead here too. Kenyon Green, kind of used in multiple ways. He's a first round pick.
He's a first rounder. And I really do want my team to draft him because they need to get better in the offensive line, and especially that left tackle where the kid from Texas has not been good for 3 or 4 years.
Be a great fit.
And Kenyon Green would be perfect there.
And then DeMarvin, he was one of those kind of like that we talked about earlier, slipping. And I think yesterday he just kind of he allowed that to stop. I mean, he showed his athletic ability. You saw it up close. What do you think?
I think DeMarvin, I don't know what, for a player at his position, defensive end, what's a good number of bench reps. But he goes 225 and repped it, I think, 17 times.
Yep.
Runs a solid, times, did well in the shuttles and cones and whatever. Again, that's a guy that whatever fan you are of, team you are of, I would be incensed if my team focused more on the pro days and combine than on what you've actually done, because that guy's going to play pro football for a long time.
Yeah. Let me say this too. Yesterday I saw some people, and it really bugs me, almost laughing at A&M's pro day, like some of the numbers our guys were doing, and like, taking pride in that. Like maybe you guys at home do this when it comes to Texas doing bad. I don't. When it comes to somebody's professional life, and it's not that I throw away the fandom, right? I want our guys to do better than everybody else, but I'm not cheering for the demise of the University of Texas players at their fan day. I don't get in people's mentions and put emojis and like, oh, look what happened. Like, that's their pro day. You do your thing. I don't need the demise of other programs. I want my guys to do good, and I move on.
I don't wish any. Once you're done playing for the rival, why, unless they've been somebody that's been outspoken and a jerk and whatnot.
Yeah.
Why do you care?
I don't care. Like, if a University of Texas player comes to the Cowboys, you're going to want them to do well, right, OB? Regardless.
Absolutely.
An Alabama player, a USC player, it doesn't matter.
I always wondered, as those Aggies from Houston, how they felt about Earl Campbell.
I forgot he was, Earl Campbell and Roger Clemons, two guys that I know that you know a little bit, and I know them. And I wanted Roger Clemens to strike out every player he went against, right, when he was with the Astros. And when he went to the Yankees, I wanted him not to do so well. It's called being a fan of your local team.
Right. I'm sure that University of Texas people that were Cowboy fans probably celebrated every Kevin Smith interception.
Hey, we're way late for a break. Let's do that. Let's hit a break. We'll come back with more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. Get pre-approved today with a 5-minute loan approval. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Brazos County Health District is holding a community care health fair on Saturday from 10 to 2 at the Lincoln Recreation Center. This free community event will include health screenings, COVID-19 vaccines and boosters, exercise and cooking classes, health and social service vendors, and various workshops. Join United Way of the Brazos Valley, Lions Pride Sports, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, at Fight to Unite this Saturday. For tickets, go online to uwbv.org. Connecting Point Church invites you and your family to Egg the City on Saturday, April 9th from noon to 2 at Wolfpen Creek Park. For more information, visit eggthecitybcs.com. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why, see the why, and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kinder Music, Happy Camper School, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
This is Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Finebaum Show.
Joe is up next in Texas.
The Jimbo nonsense at LSU, you had guests on who said, oh, yeah, he's going to go to LSU. He doesn't want to live under UT's thumb anymore. Well, screw UT.
I love
They're living under our thumb now.
It's the Paul Finebaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. I do want to read you a tweet. Let's see if I have it here that I found interesting. By the way, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text us on the A&B text line. We'll get to those here in a moment, or call us on the BCSI hotline. Here it is. Sources tell me that Lincoln Riley's first USC practice was flawless. One observer noted some are calling it the greatest practice ever on a college campus.
People are now rating conference practices.
Yeah. You know who did this?
I don't.
It is USC's PR man, Colin Cowherd, who loves Lincoln Riley.
You do know this was a troll job, right?
Of course. That's what he does. But, he also, I think, believes it.
I never know where your troll radar's at, David. But he might believe it, but that was definitely a troll at the Sooners, I believe.
He's a big Lincoln Riley guy, isn't he?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, he always talks about how he thinks Lincoln's the best coach and this and that.
See, I didn't see that. I thought that, and I'm not a fan of Cowherd, but I can see him doing the troll job. I was afraid that you were going to tell me it was some USC website that.
No. What I think it is, and this is just my opinion, I think it's Colin who really likes Lincoln, but having fun at his own expense, if that makes any sense.
I can believe that.
Yeah. Let's go to the News and Social Center. Anna Rosa Peterson, good morning.
Good morning.
We've already said good morning to you.
Voice crack.
We can just move on.
It is a good morning. Let's keep saying it. Cody from Snook says, I think we will be seeing Wydermeyer be drafted mid to late rounds, 5th or 6th maybe. I think a great fit would be the Bengals because they let go of C.J. Uzomah. And I think he would be able to help tremendously, in the run game, and will be able to make a play in the pass game.
I wonder if they would ever consider doing what don't in basketball the NCAA has a rule that you can
go back
at some point. I wonder if they'd ever do that for football and set a certain date where you can change your mind.
Yeah, but would it be after pro days, right? Where you can at least see.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Wydermeyer would change his mind, but I wonder if they would ever set that for a guy to change his mind.
And I think programs move on too, right? A&M's got their guys that I think that they think that they're going to be their tight ends here for this year. I don't know if you heard this Jake Johnson guy.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I bet if Wydermeyer could come back, they'd take him.
He's pretty darn good. You got time for one more, Anna Rosa.
All right, PG Ag and King Oak says, I'm actually happy when I see other teams' players perform well in combine settings. It helps remind me that other teams have great athletes, and that's why winning every Saturday is something to be appreciated.
Also means they don't have them anymore.
Right. Good stuff there, PG. Appreciate you. Olin, thank you so much, sir. We'll see you tonight at the NIT game.
I'll be there.
All right, when we come back, Billy Liucci going to join us here on the program, get his thoughts on Pro Day and beyond. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Since 1957, Slovačik Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovačik is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovačik. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovačik Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
your home for Aggie baseball. From the first game to the last game, home or road is Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
Are you ready?
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. Brazos County's emergency management coordinator says residents were blessed at the minimal damage from Monday night's severe weather.
That was an amazing system. We believe, after discussing it this morning, that was all part of one system and that we just got super lucky.
Michelle Meade told county commissioners yesterday about damage reports at 2 locations. One report was on Saxon Road, which is east of Bryan, near the intersection of FM 1179 and FM 2038. The other location was on Kemp Road, which is east of the Brazos River, near FM 60. The city of Madisonville is not requesting volunteers or material donations from Monday night's tornadoes. That's according to United Way of the Brazos Valley, which is working with the city and the Red Cross. Madisonville tornado victims can go to a Red Cross Assistance Center at Madisonville's First Baptist Church. Monetary donations for Madisonville victims can be made 2 ways. That information is online at WTAW.com. College Station police go to a neighborhood west of Bee Creek and Lemon Tree Parks twice in less than 24 hours to deal with a man with a gun. Monday night on Laura Lane, a mental health evaluation determined the man was not a danger to himself or others. Yesterday, the unidentified man was placed in protective custody. According to CSPD tweets, in both incidents, the man did not initially comply with officer instructions. CSPD tweeted that in yesterday's contact, the man did not point his gun at anyone and no one was injured. The tweet also called on residents to stay indoors and lock their doors. Law enforcement agencies in Brazos County could be donating expired equipment to Ukraine. County Judge Dwayne Peters responded to Commissioner Russ Ford's suggestion during yesterday's meeting.
I think if it's available, then we'd take a look and see if it'll sell or whatever. That's the process. That's state law. That's what you have to follow.
Ford said he talked with the sheriff about the possibility of donating outdated equipment that is no longer being used. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Nestle Toll House Cafe by Chip, Socorro's Second Chance Resale Shop, Superior Auto Service, and the Chocolate Gallery. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kinder Music, Happy Camper School, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M women's basketball has named Joni Taylor as its next head coach. Taylor spent the last 7 seasons at Georgia, where she led the Lady Dogs to 140 wins and 4 NCAA tournament appearances, including a second-round appearance this season. Yesterday was Pro Day for A&M football, with a handful of players showcasing their talents for NFL scouts and executives. One of the participants was Aggie place kicker Seth Small, who was out to prove himself to the teams in attendance.
I hope to just hit a clean ball today and watch all the balls go through the uprights. I'm aiming for perfection, knowing I'm not going to be perfect, but the idea is aim small, make small. And so a good kick to you, like that might look good to you. Maybe I didn't like something on it. So there were a couple things I wish could have done a little bit better, but overall I'm pleased with how I did. Just show up, do your job, and leave. That's how it goes.
Small was one of 11 Aggies to take part in Pro Day. All in all, 60 NFL personnel were in attendance, including 3 general managers and Houston Texans coach Lovie Smith. Jack Moss and Logan Britt went yard, and Aggie baseball outslugged Rice last night 15-8. The Maroon and White used a total of 7 pitchers on the mound, with Robert Hogan picking up the win. With the victory, the guys are now 13-7 on the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
And we continue on here on a Wednesday morning. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got the NIT going on tonight. Looking forward to that matchup at 6 o'clock, Reed Arena, A&M and Wake Forest. We need to also look back at the Pro Day with Billy Lucci, executive editor, co-owner of TexAgs, who joins us on the BCSI hotline. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, David. Great intro song. Phil Collins, Invisible Touch, puts me in a good mood.
Was that on the Sussudio album?
I don't know, but I like that one too.
Yeah, Phil Collins. See?
I'm a big fan of Billy, Don't You Lose My Number. There's a lot of people over there in that building whose number I'm going to be losing real soon, and particularly ones that text and call me multiple times before 7 a.m.
You don't like that early morning text we got?
No, just get your crap done without involving me if it happens before 7.
Don't break the 8:30 texting embargo.
Yeah, well, I did respond on the thread that you were on, so I apologize for that, Billy. Well, why don't we talk about some of the big news today? Joni Taylor there named the new head coach.
Yeah, no, that's an exciting hire, I think, for women's basketball. You look at what she's done in Georgia. It seems to be like a real up-and-comer, not only on the court, but on the recruiting front as well. And just someone that I think that's a terrific hire. And to go, there's always something to be said for hiring within the SEC. I do think having an understanding of not only the opponents in your league, but also the recruiting landscape, some of the battles you're going to have to fight, I think all the way to college football. You're handing Brian Kelly just this gold mine of talent in Louisiana, and you're handing him a job that, like people said, the last 3 have won national titles at. But I still think it's a difficult. I think he's going to get smacked in the face a few times, having no real familiarity with the SEC or the South. So I think that's something, because the SEC is kind of a league of its own in so many of these sports, and women's basketball is certainly one of them, to have a knowledge of again, like I said, not only your opposition, but what it takes to win championships in this league, and some of the battles you're going to have to fight and win on the recruiting front, which Joni has done already at Georgia. I think it adds to the significance of the hire, and I think it's pretty dang exciting hire for Ross Bjork to make.
Billy, I saw you find the good fight on Twitter yesterday, as you always do when it comes to A&M. Just your overall thoughts on what you saw with the vibe yesterday at Pro Day.
Yeah, I thought, people, and I just got off SEC radio with Burns and Doring, and Burns started off like, should we be concerned with that? And I said, no, I think unfortunately Jalen should be concerned. Wydermeyer, I really was hoping to see him run a faster time for his sake. Look, I knew that Jalen speed was never the strength of his game. He was like a big guy that when he got the ball in stride could rumble, and you were going to have a hard time bringing him down. But I don't think anyone that's watched him play, and if they did, then I guess you were just choosing to ignore something. Like, he was not going to be a guy that ran a fast 40 at Pro Day. I would have hoped he would have run faster than he did. That's the only thing. Like, if you'd have told me over under at 4.85, 4.9 even, I would have said, oh man, that's a tough one. I would have thought he was maybe be in the high 4.8, and that would have been with a lot of, training. But to come in at in the mid 5.0s, that's a problem for him. It's something that he's going to now have to overcome, and I don't know if he'll be able to overcome it between now and draft day in terms of his stock taking a big hit. But those other guys, like Isaiah, ran a fine time for the way Isaiah plays the game. I think that's about what everyone would have expected he would have run. I talked to some, like Michael Clemons on that side of things. He ran a 4.8. I think that's about, you watch his tape, that's about what you'd expect. I think he was hopeful he could have run a little bit faster, but Michael Clemons helped himself as much as anybody yesterday. I think he and Hansford really helped themselves. And I walked away for kind of the opposite of what you were hearing about Wydermeyer. I walked away, people said Clemons could go, Zerline said second, third. I talked to two other scouts I've known for a long time that said fourth seems to be the floor for him. Third is the most likely landing spot. So Clemons continues his rise. Those other guys are like Kenyon Green, going to be a first-round pick. He should be. Leon O'Neal, what's one thing that we've always said about Leon? The only thing he really lacked is he just wasn't a fast safety. Now, what did he run yesterday, David? Was it a 4.7?
Yeah, 4.7.
What did he run at the combine? 4.63.
Ballpark, yep.
You'd have wished he could have built on that. Like if you ran a 4.63 or whatever at the combine. I don't know. Am I wrong? And you're just holding out, or you're just guessing here?
I'm Googling.
Okay, I thought he said 4.63. My point is he could have improved on that to like a 4.59. That would have been really significant. Kind of went the other way with it, but that's why Leon's not going to be a first or second round pick.
Right.
We've all known that. Scouts know that. It's more about how did he look in drill work, how did he look in the shuttle thing, how did footwork look, what was his first 10 yards, a lot of those things. They know he's not good. I'm sure if you ask any scout there, they'd say he'd be a 4.6, in the 4.6s. So, again, this was not the fastest group to come test. We learned that at the combine.
My Google search says he didn't run the 40 at the combine.
Okay, well, I don't know where his 4.63 came from then, but 4.7 then. But look, this is not the fastest group at the combine. Now, next year, when the guys at the top of it are likely to be a couple of juniors, and Devon Achane and Antonio Johnson, and then Nia Smith as a senior, Damani Richardson as a senior, I think you're going to see a lot more, speed times that catch your eye and things like that. Now, I also think you'll see A&M extend their streak of first-round picks. So, again, there was some shade thrown yesterday, and it's just funny because people throwing shade, a lot of them, team went 5-7. A lot of other ones, team went 500, fired their coach. And another group also lost their coach to USC. I'm talking about Texas, LSU, and OU. Okay? They were the main ones that seemed to be concerned with it outside of College Station. So maybe tend to your own house. And in the case of Texas, I would say I'm looking at Aggies are still going to have several guys, not one, but several guys drafted rounds 1 to 3 versus, I believe, none on the other side of things.
Billy, I don't want to read too much into Texans having a GM and a head coach here, but what does it say when you have, I know it's 90 miles down the road and it's an easy trip, but I don't remember that being an often thing, seeing both a head coach and a GM, maybe for Johnny's pro day. I don't remember if Bill O'Brien came. I think Rick Smith was here. But, I mean, what does that mean anything to you?
Well, I think maybe O'Brien's here. I'm not even sure of that, but that was not just Johnny. That was
Mike.
Johnny, Mike Evans, Jake Matthews.
Yeah,
there were 3 first-round picks that year, so that's a different. And that was an outlier, right? I think it means, David, just that again, like I didn't even mention Marv, and his stock has fallen since he entered his name in the draft, but he's still. I don't know what round he goes. I still think you end up seeing him in the second, and if it's the third, that'd be disappointing for him. But still, you're talking about again. Is it 3? Is it 4? is it 5 guys go in the first 3 rounds? We'll have to see. But that's a lot of talent. And there were years when A&M would have a first-round pick, and then nobody go till 6th, 7th round. And that's what Coach Sumlin was always saying, we've got to build this depth. We've got to build this depth. Well, here we are, and we're talking about maybe a half dozen or more draft picks. We're talking about a handful in the first 3 rounds. We're talking about a likely first-rounder at the top in Kenyon Green. And I mentioned what's coming next year with those handful of guys. So, and oh, by the way, the real talent is down there with the freshmen and, the first and second year guys that everyone's so excited about in the program. The true freshman class coming in, the number 1 class of all time. So it is building. That's what it says, David, is there's more than one player here that NFL teams are very interested in, and it's trending the right way in terms of this becoming an every single year thing moving forward.
What kind of feedback did you get on Isaiah Spiller?
Again, I still think Isaiah will be one of the top running backs picked, and probably 2nd round. And if he goes 3rd round, then I still think that would be a little surprise to me. But Spiller did exactly what they thought he did. They thought he looked good physically. I think I even talked to some A&M people say he looked better than he has at any point here physically, like his build and stuff. And with Isaiah, it's about the tape, and it's about him as a pass catcher. It's about his, like we always talk about, the footwork and the ability to get from taking the handoff through that first wave and get through the wash there with his ability to make that first guy miss. So those are things that aren't going to show up in testing. And no one that I talked to, not a one, so much as batted an eye in terms of like the fact that he wasn't a 4-5 guy. In fact, some of them did clock him in the 4-5. So it is what it is.
Talking to Billy Liucci on the BCSI hotline. Billy, I do want to ask you about the way football is moving. And, there was such a long period of time where your combine, your pro day meant the world. I think football has shifted a little bit to what's on the film. But the immediate reaction is what we saw yesterday. Are you getting a sense, though, players like Wydermeyer, players like Isaiah, players like DeMarvin, that their film is going to do the most talking?
Well, they should hope so. And again, they weren't testing guys. And I thought Marv was going to really impress, in drills, and that was where, people were going, wow, because he is such a unique athlete at his size. But I think a lot of that is more like those that, coming out of his stance and beating blocks with explosion and just really unique agility and flexibility for a guy his size. So that's why I don't even know if like the cone drills and things like that, if it really even, now that I'm sitting here revisiting it, but it's not like a Von Miller and Myles Garrett, these guys that you just know are going to go to the combine and it's just going to be off the dang charts, like what A-Chain should do next year. It's just not. It's not going to be that way with him, and so yeah, you hope they go off tape. Particularly with Isaiah. Isaiah was a pretty elite SEC back during his time here, and I think Marv had a much better sophomore than junior year, so that kind of got that ball rolling where it was going to hurt him a little bit. But I think still go back and watch, this guy in some big games against some really good teams, and he can be pretty dominant at times. I'd go back and maybe watch some of these Alabama games. Okay, this is what his ceiling is. So somebody, I think, in the 2nd round a couple teams are going to have a really tough decision. You're going to be like, man, is this guy going to be here on our next pick? Could we possibly steal him with our next one? And then they're going to be like, gosh, but he's got 1st-round talent. Do we take him now? So Marv, to me, is going to be the most interesting one out there. But I did have somebody tell me yesterday, and said, if you look at these guys out here, Clemons looks like a 1st-round pick along with Kenyon Green. And I'm not saying Clemons is going to go round 1, but he's going to go a lot higher, I think, than people believe.
How did Nick Starkel look?
You know what? I can't say, David, because the way we were positioned, I just didn't get a really good look at him. So I can't say, but I saw some tape and some video, and look, that's a perfect setting for Nick. Is throwing the football in pro day. I mean, I'm sure he looked outstanding whipping it around, and he's going to get a shot in the NFL. Some team's going to either draft him really late, or they're going to sign him as a free agent in a situation might even be better where he can kind of pick kind of the right situation for a guy that's going to be, a free agent addition somewhere with hopes of sticking on. I thought it was cool that he was there. Couple guys, really. Josh Rogers went up to Buffalo, came back. You had Fuller, went over to Tulsa, came back. I always liked that, and I always liked that door's open for these guys to be able to get that exposure with, like you said, like all the GMs and all the teams, every team represented there, and these guys get that exposure you're just not going to get at San Jose State, at Tulsa, or at Buffalo, when you're not a projected first, second round pick.
Hey, Billy, tonight, obviously, NIT, Buzz yesterday said that Wake is better at all these categories. No gimme, obviously, tonight, but a real big one for what it means, just for Quentin's last home game and, just where this program is.
Oh, I mean, we've talked it into the ground, and rightfully so. I mean, this game is so significant, not just for the veterans, the senior like Quentin, but also for the program moving forward. I mean, look, they have a chance to win the most games in program history. They have a chance to finish a season with wins over programs like, Florida, Auburn, Arkansas, Oregon, Wake Forest out of the ACC, Xavier, and I didn't even check. Did Virginia win? Are they still going? Or
they're out.
Whoever. But, I mean, a chance to really win over a lot of named programs down the stretch, get to Madison Square Garden, and most importantly, I think just in the moment, is to cut down some nets. This is a team that deserves a shot, and I think would have still been playing in the NCAA tournament. I think they would have advanced to the second weekend. And who knows where your draw is. You might have been playing St. Peter's to go to the Elite Eight, like Purdue. I mean, you just don't know what would have happened. It could have been a good matchup. It could have been A&M springing an upset like they did against Auburn and Arkansas. So you just don't know what this team could have done, and unfortunately we never will. So I think because they got that kind of taken from them, and I don't care how the SEC did, it doesn't change the fact, I don't care how Michigan's doing. To me, Michigan's still playing tells you that A&M could have still been playing. Because they had every bit as good a resume, every bit, if not better. So, yeah, like when I'm watching that, I absolutely think they should still be playing. I think it got taken from them, and I think it would be just a really cool moment for those guys. And I think it would be kind of karma in a good way if they could go over there and cut down some nets in freaking Madison Square Garden, and then we know the significance of that for the program moving forward. And by the way, guys like Henry Coleman, Wade Taylor, Manny, Boots, Hefner, all these guys, like if you get to go out there and run through a tournament where you have to win, 5 games to get to the championship, and you have to beat teams like Oregon and Wake Forest and, Xavier or whoever else, and to run through that gauntlet, and I know it's not like SEC football gauntlet we're talking about here. It's not like running to the championship of March Madness, but those are real teams. A lot of them had their own gripes about not getting in the tournament. And you learn something that next year, if they do go in this tournament and they do make a little run, you certainly having this experience of, one game, then another right after that, then a few days off, then prepare for, back, one day in between type situations. They don't typically get a chance to do this kind of stuff. So it certainly helps, especially when every one of those is a season-ending situation.
Billy, we appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. I'll probably see you tonight.
All right, Dave.
Thank you, sir. Billy Lucci there on the BCSI hotline. Appreciate his time as always. Right now, let's talk Heritage Films. My buddy Chance McClain. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. They make documentary films about you, your dad, your family. It can be about anybody that's important to you. And they do such great work. Chance is the single most creative guy I know. He's done Broadway musical. He's done Hollywood movies, red carpet shows. I mean, the guy's done it all. Started a radio station, was a program director, an unorthodox style of radio that he brought. He's a down-to-earth guy. And the real skill that he has, it's not even a skill, it's just who he is. He just knows how to connect with people. So, it's not like an interview setting when he's asking these questions. It's like a friend talking to a friend over a beer about your life and just kind of reliving and telling those stories. So no longer do you have to play the game of telephone and forget stories. Chance is going to capture the biography right there, put it on film, and he's going to do it in a Netflix-style documentary that you're going to cherish for generation after that. Check out the website, YourHeritageFilm.com, YourHeritageFilm.com, or call them up directly, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Fist Collaborative presents Fellowship with the Fellas. Boys ages 11 to 18 are invited to the event this Saturday from 10 to 3 at Sam Rayburn Intermediate. Food, games, and fellowship. Unbound BCS is hosting its annual Night of Hope banquet on Thursday, March 31st at the Weinberg. Topics will cover the anti-human trafficking work of Unbound BCS and the 24/7 advocacy services for survivors of human trafficking. For tickets, go online to unboundbcs.org. Friends of Chamber Music and Concerts on Carter Creek presents stellar Paris-based Arid String Quartet on Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church in Bryan. The concert is free and open to the public. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
On-Site Contractors and Handyman Services says drivers, children are our nation's most valuable resource. Drive as if their lives depended on you. All too often, they do. This message is from Dylan and the crew at On-Site Contractors and Handyman Services, who do interior, exterior, residential, and commercial general construction. Quality work at reasonable rates. Call for a quote today. On-Site Contractors and Handyman Services, wishing everyone a happy and safe spring season.
You can unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors. Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, The Sleep Station, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Everybody deserves a second chance, and when we're talking about your brackets, I know you do. Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green, has a second chance bracket contest. Play now at zone1150.com. Enjoy a thick green, weed-free lawn from Aggieland Green, proudly serving College Station and Bryan for more than a decade. Play our second chance bracket contest. Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green. Play now at zone1150.com.
It's not Olin. Is it Dalton? Dalton's a thick skin.
Dalton never cried.
Am I forgetting someone? Is this a setup?
What is that about? TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. If you're listening at home, perplexed while Billy Lucci was answering questions at a press conference, I am too. We can go to Dalton behind the glass to give us a little reasoning behind that.
I don't know. Billy did a presser apparently yesterday. You said on the rundown that you wanted pro day sound, so that's what I pulled.
You pulled Billy Lucci.
The question was, who is the softest employee that works for you? And the only answer he gave was that it wasn't me.
Who is the softest employee?
He answered it, but I'm not going to out that person on radio.
Is it me?
It's in the vault. You can come back and check the vault, and I'll show you.
All right, show me. I like that. You know me. I don't have thick skin. No. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Andrew Monaco should be joining us here soon. Man, I love listening to Monaco. I do. I think he's just a great guy. I love that dude. He's just always in a good mood, friendly, but his calls are iconic, man. We're so blessed to have Andrew Monaco here, following up a legend in Dave South. Good stuff. Let's go to the News and Social Center here. Anna Rosa Peterson, what is cracking?
All right. Jim from Temple says, in response to how the Aggies did in the Combine and in Pro Day, he says the NFL, past and present, has always been full with guys who did poorly in their Combines and Pro Days, Wonderlic tests, etc. But when the NFL bright lights and games that counted came on, became consistent all-pro performers, some of them won Super Bowls rings too, from Texas A&M and many other schools. Tom Brady was a too slow 6th-round pick from Michigan. He wound up doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Tom Brady has been phenomenal.
Ding.
Yep. Hey, I've kind of kept it low recently. I felt the need to do it. There.
You got shamed into it.
Yeah, I did. You
can bring it back.
I'll bring it back. You know what?
Let me tell you something, David. As someone who's been here longer than you, it doesn't matter what you do.
They're going to find something.
Yep.
And what happens when you find something in return?
They usually get kind of quiet.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start doing my due diligence, if you know what I mean. Right now, let's talk Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. Homes, trails, wide open spaces. It is a beautiful place to do a trail run, to do an ultra run, to go fishing, to go camping. There's so many great things to do, and obviously live out there. They are dedicated to treading lightly on that land. They want to create a sanctuary for family, for nature, and for community out there. And they really have so many different types of animals you can see there, native species to their homeland, preserving that woods, those ponds. You got white-tailed deer, songbirds, rabbits, turtles. It's such a beautiful, beautiful place to go explore and enjoy. You can hike, you can bike, you can canoe, you can do kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga. There's so many different things to do, and obviously just beautiful homes, great homes, acreage, the kind of, you feel like you're far away, but you're really close. Go check them out, millikenreserve.com. Again, that's millikenreserve.com.
His playlist might have Oasis, Bad Bunny, and Kanye, but he's thinking about his Aggies all the time. It's David Nuño and TexAgs Radio on The Zone.
Who do you think is the best? Nominations are now open for the 22nd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazosvalley.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health, and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 22 years and hundreds of thousands of votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
Join Messina Hoff Winery Saturday, April 23rd and Sunday, April 24th for the 38th Annual Wine and Roses Festival. The Estate Winery in Bryan will be buzzing with local vendors, wine tasting, art, food, grape stomping, and so much more. Visit messinahoff.com/wine and roses for more information and to purchase ticket packages. Eat, drink, and stop at Messina Hoff's Wine and Roses Festival, April 23rd and 24th. Messina Hoff, join the family.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when we say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L. Rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
For more information, go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, well, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Texas. in almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Texas University Interscholastic League and the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
Here at The Zone, we like to hook you up with tickets to all the places that you want to be. And it can be Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Schlitterbahn, or maybe seeing your favorite bands in concert. It's Chili Fest time of the year. And if you'd like to win a pair of tickets to go to both nights of Chili Fest, the Randy Rogers Band, Poe Wetzel, and so much more, go register now at Gage Gandy Bail Bonds. If you'd like to win a pair of tickets to Chili Fest, go register now at Gage Gandy Bail Bonds.
And we are back. We call it TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. My buddy Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, with us. Hey, man.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, sir.
Howdy.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Always love having you on the show. It's I said earlier, you always are in a good mood. Are you ever mad?
I do get mad.
Because I see a smile a lot.
I do, but I'm happy.
You're a happy guy.
David, I get the best seat in the house tonight.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
I get to work with Dr. John Thornton.
Yeah.
And they pay me.
Isn't that great, man?
What do I have to be mad about?
Right? We had Dr. John on yesterday. He was awesome. So I made this, I don't want to call it a rant. I just went off on this thing this morning where I was like, we're still playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while schools 90 miles down the road, either direction, are done for the year. And while a lot of the SEC opponents that we played against and beat in the SEC tournament are out, and while there are teams that got to the tournament that should have been our spot, they're out. Texas A&M is still playing ball.
Yeah, this team gets to be together for at least one more night. You hope that it's more, and you get to go to New York City together. But first things first, you have to play Wake Forest. But the reason why this team is in this position and they played so well is because they went through the grind of an 8-game losing streak and didn't fracture. So why would you fracture when the committee made a huge mistake? And we're finding out the committee made a big mistake in their seedings and everything. They just didn't do their job. But this team has found a way to win. It's been the most enjoyable. Tuesday, they beat Alcorn State, and I thought they played one of their best games in the win over Oregon. So they get to be together for a longer time, and I think it's a team that enjoys one another. And I'm with you. There are a lot of teams not playing basketball right now. Texas A&M is a team that's playing basketball right now.
So before the NIT, I looked at it as like, NIT's cool. That's kind of how I felt about it. Like, it's fine. I'd rather be in the NCAA tournament, but it's fine. And now that we're in it and they're playing so well, I'm like, this is great. Like, because you're not taking on Sisters of the Poor. You're taking on legitimate teams that, to me, would be seeded anywhere between 6 and 12 anyway in the NCAA tournament. They just didn't get in for whatever reason.
Yeah, and what it is the NIT is not looked upon as the same as the NCAA. But you're exactly right, because when they changed the rules for the NIT, if you win your conference but lose in your conference tournament, you're automatically in the NIT. To your point, they would probably be in one of those seeds had they advanced to the NCAA tournament. I'm with you. Now, it changed for me. I'm not going to lie. Towards the end of the year, I'm like, you know what? The NIT would be a really nice reward for this team. Then they kept winning. And now you're saying, wow, maybe we get to Dayton in a play-in game. Then you're like, nah, heck with Dayton. We want a seed, right? Then the committee does what it does. Emotional. And then you're like, you know what? Let's make the NIT be the best experience we can possibly make it be. But I don't think it's just for March 23rd, David, in 2022. I think this is for the future. I think this really is, can really catapult this program. I loved Tuesday's crowd because that was the community embracing this team and saying, we feel your pain.
Right.
We're behind you. We're backing you. I thought it was warm as well as a celebration for the NIT. Hey, it's a home game, but I thought there was a warmth there. Saturday was even better with that crowd, and I can't wait to see what's going to be at Reed Arena tonight.
Tonight's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. For me, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Dr. John Thornton yesterday. Like, watching the transformation of this team up close like you have, because you get to see things that a lot of us, not only are you close, you're right there on the court, you can see, you can feel the body language, the sweat, all that, but you've seen it happen throughout the season in real time.
Yeah, it's special to see that kind of growth. I'm going to use a word that Dr. John Thornton uses. They coagulate. He's used it on the air. And if he's listening, buddy, I do listen to you. I don't just wait for you to stop talking so I start talking. Think about the different player that Manny Obaseki is right now. Think about a different player Wade Taylor IV is right now. Think about how different a player Hayden Hefner is right now. And I talked with Hayden last week before the Alcorn State game, and I said, look, we knew you as a three-point shooter coming in, and he said, this staff has allowed me to grow more in my game. This is what they need. Roles change over the course of the season, and these players have absolutely embraced those new roles. Javonte Brown has been huge for this team. That's not even including, David, Boots taking the next step. Quentin Jackson's leadership on this team and how Henry Coleman looks like an Aggie. We all said, wow, he's from Duke, so he must be a good player. Well, we knew he was the good player, but now he's an Aggie. And we're kind of forgetting the schools that we were or where they were before. But you just love seeing the players evolve into their new roles.
Yeah, it has been fun. And what I have maintained is this is not like a little run. This is now a third of the season that they've been playing at this level. You combine that with what they did in the beginning of the season, which I know was against inferior opponents. It doesn't matter now. Everybody they've taken on recently.
But they weren't close games in the beginning.
Yeah,
they were beating those teams, right? So that was a sign. And Vegas was, I know you lost the first game and you can't get first place in that tournament. But it was a good Wisconsin team. But you came back, they bounced back against Butler, and then they bounced back after a bad first half, being down by 10, and beat Notre Dame, another tournament team. But you're right. It's funny where the focus was on, hey, you guys lost 8 in a row. Yeah, we know that. We never disowned that 8-game losing streak through all of this. But that didn't define this team. I think this stretch, to your point, because it's gone so long, it wasn't just 3 days in Tampa. That would have been nice. That would have been a nice punctuation mark, but this is an exclamation point, not just a period at the end of the sentence. And I'm with you. I like the sustained excellence that they've played.
Was there any evidence during the 8-game losing streak that this was possible?
Yes, because they were all 1- and 2-possession games.
Yeah.
It was that thin line, and the running joke at the time was they had the T-shirt made, the thin line between winning and losing, and Buzz and then Wade Taylor IV said, we need to get that tattooed on our chest. It was that thin line. Finding a way to lose isn't the right phrase, but they weren't winning those games. Buzz on his radio show early in the conference, he actually had screenshots of the 10 previous games. 7 were 1- or 2-possession games at the under 8 timeout. That's how close that was the margin. But here's the difference. They're not winning 1- and 2-possession games any longer. These are 5 and 6 and 7. They have found the way to win. Better starts. It's no longer having to play from behind, and they got a couple of wins like that. But they're getting the great starts, and they're keeping it timeout to timeout. Buzz has used he mixes the sports metaphors, or he's talked about you've got to win each round, to use the boxing analogy, and that's timeout to timeout. And it's also like golf. You got to go on to the next. Okay, that wasn't a great, but after this timeout, we've got to be better. Okay, we may have bogeyed that hole. Now we've got to be better. Let's par or birdie and go from there. Let the past be the past. But they've been way more consistent over the 40 minutes. And I thought that came to the forefront on Saturday against Oregon.
All right, so Oregon, tough matchup, but A&M handled them no problem, right? Other than 3-0 when the game started, the rest was all A&M. Wake is going to be another tough challenge. This is a team that's built very similar to A&M in the way they go about their business. Obviously, Steve Forbes' relationship with this program and with Buzz. When you see tonight, what intrigues you, what scares you?
Alondis Williams scares me.
Yeah.
It's a terrific player. ACC Player of the Year. Laravia is a good player, a terrific compliment. The guard play, they're not very deep, but I don't think they need to be very deep. But you're right, the numbers are strikingly similar. They get to the free throw line an awful lot. And they do not, they defend without fouling. And that's, again, I think Buzz mentioned it yesterday. Some coaches get labeled, right? Steve Forbes always been a good defensive coach, but he's really got a good offense there. But I'm going to answer your question with a question. When's this team ever backed down from any team, whether it's been Kentucky or Arkansas? They haven't. And I just think that's the preparation, what this staff does and how this team absorbs all that information and then transfers that info into their play on the courts.
I'm trying to think to myself, if there's maybe been one game this year where they didn't play well, right? Well, I mean, there's been other games they didn't play well in stretches, but like the second LSU game was not a good game.
Correct.
Tennessee didn't play well, but they made it a game at the end, and they had a chance.
They played from behind in both Tennessee games, right? Yeah,
right.
Which you can't do against the Volunteers.
No, you can't. But LSU, the second time is the only time that I'm like, they just didn't bring it tonight.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've brought it every night.
And I think that's really been the key, and they know that that's how they have to play. Buzz says, can we bend the game to the way we play? That's what they did against Oregon. That was the Aggie style. It's what they did in the second half against Alcorn State. That's what they did throughout the tournament. They played their style against Florida, against Auburn, against Arkansas, very much their style against Arkansas. And when they do that, they just exude such confidence on the floor. I don't know what the it is, but when they have it and they're playing that way, when they play with that supreme confidence, there's almost a joy they share with one another when they're playing like that, because they know we're playing our style, we're controlling this game, and it's a fun way to watch. Boots Radford has an awful lot to do with that. So does Quentin Jackson. John Thornton talks about the poise of Tyrese Radford. That is next level type poise is what he plays with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we are set up for a nice couple of years here because, yes, Q is going to be hard to replace.
It's going to be hard.
But I don't know if people saw Q developing into this role 6 weeks ago, and he has. Like, you knew he was your best player, but not to this level. Boots was a nice player early on. He's a different player now. Manny is a different player now. Wade. So fast forward Henry, by the way, who showed glimpses. Now it's been consistent.
Yeah, I love to watch that, and then with that comes the responsibility. So if Boots has the ball in his hands, you look, it doesn't always have to be the point guard initiating the offense. It can be the Qs and the Boots on this team. Watch how the game begins. It's going to be Manny Obaseki who's going to initiate that offense. Can you get the team into the offense? And they can. But it's also nice to have Wade Taylor IV run the show and Hassan come off the bench. He's another one who has really grown. The one thing that really struck me was over the course of this season, talking with Quentin Jackson, when you know that after his super senior season is going to come to a close, what's going to be that legacy? And he has, I don't even say mentor, but his friendship and the relationship with the younger players, with Obaseki, with Taylor, that's what he's going to leave. But he admitted, I can be a better leader. I need to be a better leader. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm a super senior, everybody follow me.
Right.
No, he wanted it to be an even better leader. I think that coincides with how well he's played. That's also a big point.
So I am more in on the NIT than I am with the NCAA tournament, right? And it's the nature of our job, our interests. But have you paid attention at all to what's happening?
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I mean, look, this is going to be if you pick 68 teams, you would have a great tournament. It's just the way the tournament is.
Right.
I'm still a little mad because I think they got it wrong. That to me. But once you get into that competition, how can you not watch TCU and Arizona go into overtime, right? I just think there's so much that goes in the one and done and how it's all magnified. To me, it becomes that must watch. This is the segment where college basketball shines. This is the time of year where it shines, and it's always going to be a great tournament.
Baseball-wise, Schloss got those guys playing some pretty good ball. They win the series against LSU. Yesterday against Rice, they scored 14 runs. I think the bullpen's looking better. It's feeling like it is. Just what are you seeing from Schloss and company?
Competitive grit was the phrase that he used, didn't he? He wanted to see that competitive grit, and you saw it in LSU. And all the times that they've had nightmares at the box, right? LSU scores 1 in the 8th on Friday, but the Aggies come right back with 2 in the 9th. 2 in the bottom of the 8th, Aggies score 4 on Saturday. And I love the greediness of let's go take 3. I love that attitude. Okay, so they didn't get that, and they bounced back against Rice. And they even had some trouble at Rice, up 8-2 after the Jack Moss grand slam, and they give up a 6th spot. And they had to go to the bullpen because Christian Curtis comes out of that game in the first inning. They've got to go to the pen. But it was that competitive grit. Is Rice as good as A&M? No, but that's why A&M should win those games, and you saw some great performances. I'm not sure there's a better number 8 hitter in the country than Logan Britt, right? 2 home runs. My partner, John Sheshik, always says, you know what? Every time I seem to watch Logan Britt, he has a great game. So he's going to become his agent right now. And it was fun to watch the game through Shesh's eyes, seeing this team, what he saw on TV and over the weekend, and to see them in person was really impressive. Jack Moss is one of the best 2-strike hitters I have ever seen on any level. I talked about the Poos the poise of Boots.
Yeah.
How about the poise of Jack Moss at the plate? He is a really tough out. It's a lineup that is long. It's a defense that plays very well, right? There's not a lot of free, but when Schloss talks about allowing that free, the base on balls, the hit batters, that free, the errors, when they keep that down, it's not a mistake they took 2 out of 3 from LSU, that's for sure.
You know, and I think Billy's the one who mentioned it to us. Sometimes we make our decisions on teams so early. So just look at the football team. After the Arkansas game, after the Mississippi State game, we wanted to write the narrative about that team. And there was so much football to be played, and you saw how they navigated through that. Basketball, the 8-game losing streak. Everybody's writing these stories. It's over, blah, 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 blah. And look at where they are now. I think baseball is a great example of that, too, where they started off nice, but some injuries and some bullpen issues, and we don't know who this team is yet, but we know that they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, you lose the entire left side of your infield very early, right? Trevor Warner's your best player, has the best weekend in the first weekend, and then you lose your shortstop that you build your entire defense around in Kalai Harrison. So what does it say about Schloss and his staff making sure that you have a Cole Kaler, who has played 3 of those infield positions and is now at short, that you have Ryan Targach and his adaptability to play on the infield, second and third. You have Austin Boast has never played second until Friday in Baton Rouge. Right. And there he is. Just, again, especially in baseball, David, you go from the cold in the beginning of the season to stinking hot towards the end of the season. And you're right. I think the football is the great analogy. And I fall into that trap where when things aren't going well, you're like, well, where's the next win going to come from? And then you see the way basketball is playing or the way baseball is playing. Like, I don't think there's anybody who can beat us. You do that. But again, every team in every sport evolves from the beginning to the end. And you want that improvement. You want to see it. But I think when you see those ingredients to success, I like what Schloss said. We did it now. Now that's in our memory bank. Now we're supposed to do it from here on out. And I love that part of the culture that he's building.
Last thing, Pro Day talk. Yesterday, I know some of the numbers weren't spectacular, but I still think it's a celebration of the kind of talent that Jimbo has put together here in the past and what the future could look like. Because yesterday was a great day with all NFL teams out there and scouts. What about the future?
See, I think that's how Pro Days are going to be from here on out, with a whole lot of talent and guys that the NFL is going to like. I think we get so caught up on the Pro Days and those numbers. This is going to be the meanest thing that I can say. You're doing it against air. Okay? But you still have to look good. And I think it becomes, hey, I've seen this guy on TV. Or Jimbo always says, hey, put it on tape. You have to put it on tape. Now that you get that first look, or maybe that's the first time in person seeing someone and you see the size. Look, what DeMarvin Leal has done, the versatility of DeMarvin Leal is why he's going to get drafted, not the numbers that he puts in on Pro Day. But now you see the size and you get a chance to talk face-to-face maybe, and you realize, man, that's a person we want in our organization. You see a Michael Clemons who, man, put together, right? Kenyon Green. He's going to the next level, again, because of that versatility. I think Pro Day, let's go back to this. You only need one of 32 teams. Right. So I think we make so much about it because it's the big thing in football. And it's just, to me, it's the consistency. Teams that select players on Pro Day performances are going to be disappointed. The franchise, that's not how you do it. It's got to be part of everything that you measure. But to your point, all those players under Jimbo Fisher, we're going to see a lot of players on Pro Day taking that step from Texas A&M to the NFL.
Appreciate you, sir.
Absolute pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. All right, when we come back, your text messages and your phone calls on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150, or you can text us on that A&B text line, that same number, 979-693-1150. It's TexAgs Radio.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. Get pre-approved today with a 5-minute loan approval. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Brazos County Health District is holding a community care health fair on Saturday from 10 to 2 at the Lincoln Recreation Center. This free community event will include health screenings, COVID-19 vaccines and boosters, exercise and cooking classes, health and social service vendors, and various workshops. Join United Way of the Brazos Valley, Lions Pride Sports, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, at Fight to Unite this Saturday. For tickets, go online to uwbv.org. Connecting Point Church invites you and your family to Egg the City on Saturday, April 9th from noon to 2 at Wolfpen Creek Park. For more information, visit eggthecitybcs.com. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hippity hop to the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 9th for the annual Easter celebration. The event will begin at 9:30 a.m. and include an Easter egg hunt, egg roll, egg toss, carnival games, face painting, kite flying, door prizes, balloon animals, complimentary refreshments, and photos with the Easter Bunny. The free event will be available for children age 7 and under. For more information, visit bush41.org.
Hello, this is Discover, and we take customer service very seriously. We know that if you have a question or concern about your credit card, that's a serious matter, and you need to talk to a real person about it. So we offer around-the-clock access to seriously talented representatives in the USA. Again, it's a serious endeavor. The only funny thing about it is Bob. If you call us and Bob answers, you're in for a treat. Get 100% U.S.-based customer service and talk to a real person day or night. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Finebaum Show. Joe is up next in Texas.
The Jimbo nonsense at LSU, you had guests on who said, oh, yeah, he's going to go to LSU. He doesn't want to live under UT's thumb anymore. Well, screw UT.
I love
They're living under our thumb now.
It's the Paul Finebaum Show, powered by Polaris Fund Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
Wake Forest is ranked ahead of us in every category, offensively, defensively, all the Ken Palm stuff. Coach Forbes has done a great job assembling a roster. I think they are playing the way that he would like to play on both ends of the floor. Very talented players. Coach was Coach of the Year, had the Player of the Year, but they're much more than just the Player of the Year.
All right, there he is, Buzz Williams, breaking down Wake Forest. That game is tonight, 6 o'clock. Hopefully many of you will make the trek from wherever you live, if it's in the Brazos Valley, Houston, Austin, Dallas, wherever. Come on out for that game. Give Q the goodbye that he deserves and that he needs. And hopefully it's not a goodbye, just maybe a goodbye to Reed Arena. Hopefully they move on to Madison Square Garden and continue rolling there. Is an update for what is happening in the NIT. The Bonnies do continue to win. They beat Virginia yesterday 52-51, and Xavier survived 75-73 over Vanderbilt, a Vandy team that was playing a lot better towards the end of the season. But today is the big one, obviously, with A&M and Wake Forest. The game right after ours is Washington State and BYU. They're in the NIT quarterfinal. All right, hour number 3 is coming up here soon on TexAgs Radio. The great Ryan Broniger. Well, I don't know why I use that voice. Bronny's going to join us with Recruiting Country. Kendall Rogers talks some Aggie baseball later on in the show. So we have a lot more for you. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, text us up on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, or call us up on the BCSI hotline. That same number, 979-693-1150. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
When it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kinder Music, Happy Camper School, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Learning your child has cancer causes an emotional and financial crisis. Often, the best place for treatment is far from home. But with the help of the National Children's Cancer Society, children battling cancer can get to life-saving treatment, whether it's across town or across the country. To learn how we give families hope and give their children the best shot at survival, visit thenccs.org. That's THENCCS.org. Because no family should go through childhood cancer alone.
Like us on Facebook at Zone 1150. Follow us on Twitter at Zone 1150. Get connected now. Get connected now. With the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. Brazos County's emergency management coordinator says residents were blessed at the minimal damage from Monday night's severe weather.
That was an amazing system. We believe, after discussing it this morning, that that was all part of one system and that we just got super, super lucky.
Michelle Meade told county commissioners yesterday about damage reports at 2 locations. One report was on Saxon Road, which is east of Bryan, near the intersection of FM 1179 and FM 2038. The other location was on Kemp Road, which is east of the Brazos River, near FM 60. The city of Madisonville is not requesting volunteers or material donations from Monday night's tornadoes. That's according to United Way of the Brazos Valley, which is working with the city and the Red Cross. Madisonville tornado victims can go to a Red Cross Assistance Center at Madisonville's First Baptist Church. Monetary donations for Madisonville victims can be made 2 ways. That information is online at WTAW.com. College Station police go to a neighborhood west of Bee Creek and Lemon Tree Parks twice in less than 24 hours to deal with a man with a gun. Monday night on Laura Lane, a mental health evaluation determined the man was not a danger to himself or others. Yesterday, the unidentified man was placed in protective custody. According to CSPD tweets, in both incidents, the man did not initially comply with officer instructions. CSPD tweeted that in yesterday's contact, the man did not point his gun at anyone and no one was injured. The tweet also called on residents to stay indoors and lock their doors. Law enforcement agencies in Brazos County could be donating expired equipment to Ukraine. County Judge Dwayne Peters responded to Commissioner Russ Ford's suggestion during yesterday's meeting.
I think if it's available, then we'd take a look and see if it'll sell or whatever. That's the process. That's state law. That's what you have to follow.
Ford said he talked with the sheriff about the possibility of donating outdated equipment that is no longer being used. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road or click WPI.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M women's basketball has named Joni Taylor as its next head coach. Taylor spent the last 7 seasons at Georgia, where she led the Lady Dogs to 140 wins and 4 NCAA tournament appearances, including a second-round appearance this season. Yesterday was Pro Day for A&M football, with a handful of players showcasing their talents for NFL scouts and executives. One of the participants was Aggie place kicker Seth Small, who was out to prove himself to the teams in attendance.
I hope to just hit a clean ball today and watch all the balls go through the uprights. I'm aiming for perfection, knowing I'm not going to be perfect, but the idea is aim small, make small. And so a good kick to you, like that might look good to you. Maybe I didn't like something on it. So there were a couple things I wish could have done a little bit better, but overall I'm pleased with how I did. Just show up, do your job, and leave. That's how it goes.
Small was one of 11 Aggies to take part in Pro Day. All in all, 60 NFL personnel were in attendance, including 3 general managers and Houston Texans coach Lovie Smith. Jack Moss and Logan Brent went yard, and Aggie baseball outslugged Rice last night 15-8. The Maroon and White used a total of 7 pitchers on the mound, with Robert Hogan picking up the win. With the victory, the guys are now 13-7 on the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Listening to The Zone on your smart speaker is easy. If Louie can do it, anyone can do it. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Aggie football, basketball, or baseball on your smart speaker. Step 1, and one time only needed, say Enable Zone 1150 Skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it up and say, Enable Zone 1150 Skill. And then listen in anytime just by saying, play Zone 1150.
Welcome back in. We call it TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. My buddy Ryan Broniger is in the house. It's time for Recruiting Country, presented by Caprock Health System, a faster patient-centered revolution in care with 2 ERs in the BCS, the original 24-hour in South College Station on William D. Fitch, and the full-service hospital with ER in Bryan on Briarcrest, online at caprockhealthsystem.com. What's up, Bronny?
Morning. Can I have this water?
Yeah, you sure can.
Awesome. Parched this morning. Had a hard workout yesterday.
Look at the smile on your face when you say that.
Baseball practice till late last night. Stayed up and watched the Aggie baseball game, or what I could. The ESPN Plus broadcast left a lot to be desired.
Yep.
But that game didn't end until like right at midnight. So late night, early morning, and springtime, man. That's what it is. It's busy. Got both sports rocking and rolling, and you just try to keep up. It's like drinking out of a fire hose.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned your workout yesterday. So on the TexAgs Rewind, I don't know how it came up. It was organically, but we just...
I'm sure it was real organic.
Between the interns and Dalton actually didn't participate. He just stayed quiet.
Shocker.
We were just discussing if we did a TexAgs Pro Day, how things would go. And
well, I can tell you there'd be a lot of torn hamstrings.
Yeah.
Injured labrums.
I believe Tomas, who's still an athlete, said he would run a 4.8.
That's pretty impressive.
I think he said 4.8. Maybe he said 4.9, but it was in the force.
He's also in college still.
Yeah, he's 22, whatever, 21, 22, whatever he is. He said he'd run a 4.8. He was like, I think bench press, he was pretty cocky about it. Sam,
I don't think he could do more than 6 at 225.
I don't think he can do 2. I'm going to go with 2.
Okay.
That's all right. And then we're talking about, all right, 135, because you would have to do, but you told me you knocked out some 225.
I didn't even know y'all were talking about this yesterday. I went in there and I watched, obviously, Pro Day yesterday and watched those guys do 225 as many times as they could. And I was like, man, I haven't done that in forever.
Ages.
A long time, where I tried to do it as many times as I could. So that was the first thing that I did with my workout yesterday was 3 sets with about a 4-minute rest of how many, rep out 225 as many times as I could. And my first set was my best number, which when you go to failure, your first set's going to be your best. That was 22.
Yeah,
and I probably could have, I think maybe could have squeezed out another. I didn't have a spot.
Oh no, that's scary.
Yeah, so I would say I'm about 22 or 23.
Yeah, I think max would be 6 for me of 225. I don't think I'm going above
Well, you're
6.
a smaller dude, man. And you know what? Like, I don't know that is a direct correlation to your raw bench strength.
No.
Because if you put that, if you put 22 reps at 225 into a 1-rep max calculator, it puts you somewhere like between 365 and 380, and I know that I do more than that.
Right.
So I do, it's a muscular endurance thing. So, there are guys that probably aren't as strong but have better muscular endurance that can get more reps. And obviously your range of motion is a
big part of
that. Because was it Stephen Paez, the guy that has the most reps at 225, was 51?
Goodness gracious.
And he was a Polynesian defensive tackle and just big, broad chest, short arms, and was just knocking them out. That's 51 reps. That's insane.
135. How many times can you knock out? You think you can go 50?
Yeah. I've done it over 50. I'd like 55. 55 or 60.
If we did the 40-yard dash.
No way. I mean, I'd get to 20 yards and stop.
It'd be over.
Need a breather.
I would 100% tear a hamstring. There's no doubt in my mind.
Okay, I feel like you have a very good run face.
I will have a great run face.
Angry. Yeah.
There's a video from the Tough Mudder that I'll have to share with you. My wife shot video of me. There's a thing where you start off like 20 yards back and you run and try to climb a wall. It's real high, and then you try to grab on and they help you. Oh yeah, I had the mean Nuño run face for sure.
You're listening to Jocko before you ran up there?
Oh, I was for sure. David Goggins and Jocko. That's the way I roll. Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Philip Vargas setting that up. All right, so let's get into some recruiting country. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text us some questions for Bronny. That number is 979-693-1150. That's the A&B text line. You can also call us on the BCS iHotline. This guy is going to chug it. Look at that. Water chugger. Ryan Browninger, 979-693-1150. We touched on it briefly because I knew you were going to come back today on the show on Monday, but Eli Holstein decommits. What does that mean? What do you see how do you see his future? How do you see his future beyond A&M or maybe even still here at A&M?
Doesn't change what I think about Eli as a kid or what I think about Eli as a prospect. I think he's a very good quarterback prospect. My personal opinion, I guess, would be the surprise of a lot of folks in Austin. I still think he's the best quarterback recruit in the state of Louisiana. I don't care what people are rated. My opinion is that Eli Holstein is the best quarterback recruit in the 2023 class in Louisiana. Now, what does that mean for A&M? It means A&M's back on the market for a quarterback, and they're going to search from coast to coast, north to south to find their guy. And there are options out in California. Pierce Clarkson is a name that we've heard pop up. He's committed to Louisville, but is kind of on an upward trajectory. He's got a dad named Steve Clarkson, who's a quarterback guru out there on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. They offered Dante Freeman, 5-star kid out of Detroit King High School in Michigan. I think they will look at some targets in the state of Texas. That makes sense that Jackson Arnold at Denton Geyer would get a look. I think that A&M has reached out to him this week. We'll see what kind of interest is reciprocated down the road. It's in the very early stages there. And then it just makes sense for me after going out on the road and seeing some of these quarterbacks operate and throw in competitive settings. The kid out of Dripping Springs, Austin Novosad, has been super impressive the last 2 times I've seen him, and he's committed to Baylor. But You want to talk about a huge stock up in the state of Texas. I think he is, for me, the second best quarterback in the state and making strides toward Jackson Arnold at that number 1 spot. He was very impressive in the 2 weeks in a row that I saw him, and very good kid, great family, has some ties to College Station and Texas A&M. So it seems like if A&M does choose to go that direction, I think A&M would be in the running for an Austin Novosad. Here's the thing that they think they're going to battle is the negative recruiting based on the depth chart at A&M. And when you've got kind of the layers that A&M's got in terms of how the class structure of their quarterback room with Haynes, Max, and Connor, some of these guys are going to come in and go, holy crap, like that's a loaded room.
Yep.
Am I going to be willing to maybe redshirt if I go there? And I think that's a conversation that's going to be beat into the heads of the kids that they're recruiting by the other schools, by their competitors. And that's something that A&M's going to have to fight in terms of getting a quarterback in this class. So I think all those play a factor in what will happen. I think A&M, I know that they spoke to Eli over the weekend. I think that he was supposed to speak with Darryl Dickey late Sunday night. So A&M's not out of the recruitment at all. I think Oregon's entered the picture. I think Alabama's entered the picture. I think maybe even LSU's entered the picture. But we'll see. I think there's nothing to be worried about if you're an Aggie fan because of the state of the position already on campus and because of what this coaching staff has done at the position on the recruiting trail up to this point. But surprising. I know it shocked the kids in the class that were currently committed. I talked to Colton Thomason, and it wasn't made known to him at all that Eli was about to decommit. So, I trust the coaching staff, and they're going to go through their evaluations, and they're going to bring some kids in throughout the spring. And then obviously the summer camp setting is a big deal for Jimbo. He gets to watch the kids in person, coach them, and kind of pull on them a little bit and see how they respond to his style of coaching. And so I think that's a key data point for them because Jimbo's hard on his quarterbacks, and he wants to see how you handle all that as a recruit in that summer camp. So still a while to go. I think you'd like to have your quarterback sooner rather than later, but I also think it's important enough to do all the homework that you don't rush to a decision just to get your quarterback in the class.
Let's kind of go through what a decommit means ultimately. Because we've seen where somebody in the last year has decommitted and then decided to go back to Texas A&M. We've seen they move on. How do coaching staffs approach that? Do they work harder? Do they spread their wings? What typically happens?
Well, I think for both parties, it's kind of the freedom of choice now, and where do you want to go? And if A&M believes that Eli Holstein is still the best fit for them in this class, then they won't relinquish their recruiting presence around him. And, but I also think that you're definitely back on the market. It's no different than whenever you've got a guy committed to the position and he starts going and taking other official visits. You bring other guys in at that position on official visits as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's an easy way to answer that question other than both of them are back on the market and looking at the position.
Yeah. Got Ryan Broniger here for Recruiting Country here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, the spring game, big deal not only for our chance to see some of these youngsters play that you've watched in high school, but also because of the kind of talent that's going to be coming to College Station that weekend.
It looks like that's going to be their big recruiting weekend of the spring. Still no recruiting coordinator. I don't have an update on the timeline on when that should happen. But just based off what we're getting back from a bunch of the kids, it sounds like that April 9th weekend is going to feature a lot of high-profile visitors. Jason dropped a couple on the site last night. I won't get into all those names, but they're coming in from around the country, and they are very highly rated, high-profile kids that are highly sought after by schools across the country. And A&M, we've seen them in years past, kind of their growing influence from Philadelphia to Arizona to Florida. So all these kids coming in, A&M's going to have a shot with. And we're still trying to kind of put pegs into the recruiting board to figure out where kids stand, who is of top priority, who are the guys that are on offer watch that are performing well in the spring. So now they've gone from offer watch to probably an offer is coming. Getting a feel for Steve Adazio and DJ Durkin on the recruiting trail. Who are the guys that they're prioritizing? It's all that stuff we're still kind of feeling out and to get a better understanding to help our coverage of it. But to go back to what you asked, the spring game weekend looks like if a kid shows up for that, they're definitely squarely on A&M's big board for the class of 23.
How does yesterday play a role in recruiting? And what I mean by that is Pro Day is going on. You've got every NFL team represented. You've got CFL teams there. You've got GMs, head coaches, in sometimes cases both are there from the same team. Is that something that recruits even look down the road that much at?
It has less to do with Pro Day and more to do with the draft. Mm-hmm. Like nobody really sells their Pro Day. I'm sure there are a lot of schools in the conference. I mean, it's just Vanderbilt. I bet Vanderbilt's got quite a few scouts and stuff, NFL guys that come and watch their Pro Day. Not as much as A&M or Georgia or Bama or Florida, but they do have them. So you don't really sell your Pro Day. I think that is a cool factoid that all 32 teams were represented at your Pro Day. Like, where else are you going to get that much exposure all at once? But I think what happens on draft day and the weekend of the draft has way more of an impact on your recruiting than anything. If Isaiah, DeMarvin, Kenyon, all those guys, Michael Clemons, if they go in the first 2 or 3 rounds, that's a huge selling point.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, we're going to continue with Bronny here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. It's Cap Rocks Health's Recruiting Country. We appreciate that. Let me read this text message to you, and this is from Tomas Romo. He goes, I was listening to the show this morning just to know I am ready for the interim pro day. I'm going to flash a 4.8 speed. LOL is what he put afterwards. So I don't know if he's saying
is that joking, LOL? Or
I think he really thinks he's going to run a 4.8.
I mean, really, the expectation should be that if you are younger, you should produce at a higher level. I mean, we got a bunch of has-beens in this office, or never were.
Never were. I'm on the never were team.
But, like, how many people played college? Me and Logan?
Yeah.
And, we're so far past it.
I still think Logan could probably knock out, like, a 4.9.
No way.
No?
I don't. Was he that fast whenever he was an athlete?
You know,
Now he's
deceptively
refereeing,
fast.
so he is running a bunch.
Yeah.
But like, if you're in college or like right out of college, like honestly, if we're being 1,000%, 100% candid here, Richard should have high expectations.
Richard's actually fast.
We should have high expectations of Richard in a combine setting, right?
At the running. If you put 225 on the bench, he's dying.
Well, we'll have to adjust
He'll
it.
die, like death.
We'll have to adjust it for him.
135, can he knock out 12?
Richard, the expectations should be high.
Okay.
I'm not going to put a number on his bench press. I think he might surprise us all. In fact, there was rumor in the back that he was going to start some of that Andrew Dion.
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah, so, maybe he's getting ready. If he starts walking around here looking like Mark McGuire.
Hey, I would not be surprised if he broke a 5 running the 40, but 135 more than 10 times, nah, ain't going to happen. All right, a moment right now for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Zach Hester could probably knock out 225 22 times, just like Bronny, and maybe beyond because he's strong. But he's also a good man, and he does great work here in the area. Love Zach Hester and his crew out here. They always have great deals there at Caldwell Country, and if you are looking, if you're in the market for a brand new vehicle, that's the place you go. If you're in the market for a pre-owned vehicle, you're thinking about getting some value for your current vehicle, that's the place to go as well. Great customer service, great people, and just an incredible experience when you walk in and you see everything that they have to offer for you there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. 15-minute drive, Brian to Caldwell, short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you start doing business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Fist Collaborative presents Fellowship with the Fellas. Boys ages 11 to 18 are invited to the event this Saturday from 10 to 3 at Sam Rayburn Intermediate. Food, games, and fellowship. Unbound BCS is hosting its annual Night of Hope banquet on Thursday, March 31st at the Weinberg. Topics will cover the anti-human trafficking work of Unbound BCS and the 24/7 advocacy services for survivors of human trafficking. For tickets, go online to unboundbcs.org. Friends of Chamber Music and Concerts on Carter Creek presents stellar Paris-based Arid String Quartet on Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church in Bryan. The concert is free and open to the public. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Howdy, this is Brad Beard with Intercon. You would not buy a car, boat, or major appliance if the warranty only covered material, leaving you to pay labor, freight, and other charges. So don't make the same mistake when making a window or glass purchase. With many players in the window industry, limited warranties are truly limited. At Intercon, the warranties we provide cover 100% of the cost to get the product performing as it should. The labor and freight charges on other vendors' warranties can add up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Ask questions about other warranties offered. What costs are not covered? Are they transferable? What happens if a vendor goes out of business? Intercon does not represent any fly-by-night manufacturers who change their name and product line continually. We have long-standing relationships with our vendors and offer the best warranties in the business. Years down the road, Intercon will still be in the Brazos Valley, making sure the product we sold you lives up to expectations. Call Intercon and get the best product at the best price with the best service.
When it comes to windows for your most valuable asset, trust your local friends and neighbors from Intercon. Call Brad Beard with Intercon at 823-3639. That's 823-3639 for Intercon today.
Do you care about the health and well-being of the Brazos Valley? Would you enjoy being part of a healthcare team that treats patients like family through more meaningful one-on-one interactions? Caprock Health System is now hiring, with a range of positions available, from team management to nursing to office support staff. If you want to make a difference in our community's healthcare, apply online now at caprockhealthsystem.com/careers.
Did you get left out? Did you forget to register in time? Did you forget to play Zone Madness presented by Aggieland Green? Are you currently playing, but your brackets are busted?